House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pushing back on talk of impeaching the president. The speaker dismissing criticism of her opposition to it, saying Democrats should concentrate on passing legislation. Here's what she told USA Today. You're wasting your time unless the evidence is so conclusive that the Republicans will understand. Otherwise, it's a gift to the president. We take our eye off the ball. Let's bring in California Congressman Ro Khanna. He serves on the House Oversight Committee. You and the Speaker, Congressman Khanna, seem to be pretty much on the same page. She told the Washington Post that it's just not worth it to go after the impeachment of the president. You've said something along those lines. Am I right?
Well, John, I haven't ruled it out, but I said the bar is very high. We certainly shouldn't prejudge anything, and we should wait for the evidence before we make any determination.
But what do the American people want? What do your constituents want?
Well, my constituents want there to be an open, aggressive investigation with all the facts to be transparent. They want to see the Mueller report released. They want to see what's going to happen with the Southern District of New York and that investigation. They want us to go through the process, and I don't think they want us to prejudge something. And they understand the gravity of impeachment and that it's a very high bar.
Here's what Speaker Pelosi said at a voting rights rally when she was sort of defending that comment to the Washington Post. She said, I've been saying this for 2 years that he shouldn't be impeached, but when I said he's not worth it, then it got the press. And what he's not worth is the financial stability of America's working families, and that's what we're trying to correct. When the time comes, she said, we'll see. It does seem like right now most Americans are not talking about impeachment a whole lot.
Well, I think there's serious concern still about the abuses of the rule of law, and people want transparency. They want an open investigation. But they also care most about communities that have been left behind. What are we doing to build infrastructure? What are we doing to provide health care? What are we doing to tackle prescription drugs? We have to have a positive agenda for the American people, and I think that's what Nancy Pelosi is focused on.
She has also said that she personally supports lowering the voting age to 16 in this country. What do you think about that?
Here's why I think it's a good idea, John. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and so I grew up believing that young people really need to learn about the responsibilities of citizenship. If we could teach folks in 11th and 12th grade about voting and about the importance of learning American history and getting them used to voting, I think that would do so much for building a common American purpose and the responsibilities young people need in being good citizens.
She says that in your caucus, your Democratic caucus in the House, you're collecting thoughts about that idea. Are there others who would support lowering the voting age to 16?
There are. We had a vote on an amendment. There was quite a large group of people who supported it. And I just think that our country so desperately needs this next generation to learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, to have a common American identity. I can see no better way than teaching that in high school. What happens now is folks leave school. They haven't really voted before. They don't have that habit that previous generations have had, and they don't take those obligations seriously. If we allow this to happen in high school, I think they'd be much better about voting and contributing to the country.
What about the possibility of overriding the president's veto? There were 13 Republicans who did join Democrats, but you need, what, 288 in the House, 66 in the Senate to override a veto? Ms. Pelosi says she's going to schedule the vote anyway. Isn't that kind of a waste of time?
Well, John, it's going to be an uphill battle, I'll be candid with you, but here's why it matters. The president shouldn't be allowed to subvert the will of Congress. I would say the same thing. Look, I'm a progressive Democrat. If there was a Democratic president who wanted to do Medicare for all or the Green New Deal and said, I'm going to declare a national emergency, I don't care what Congress thinks, you can count on me to oppose that. I think this is about the separation of powers and the rule of law, and it would be a terrible precedent to allow this president to declare a national emergency when Congress doesn't want to. So I think we really need to express our will that this is a wrong policy. It's going to be a hard vote, but I think it's important for Congress to make that statement.
Ro Khanna, member of Congress, Democrat from California. It's good to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I don't want to speak badly about the new Green Deal, Sean, because frankly, frankly, I'm afraid that they'll stop using it because I really do want to, campaign against it. It's ridiculous. All right, it's crazy, and it'll cost $100 trillion.
There was the president on the phone last night with Sean Hannity, urging Democrats keep pushing the Green New Deal. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell did just that this past week. Got a lot of present votes, too, when it was brought to the floor. That is something Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez says she encouraged her Democratic colleagues to do. Josh Holmes, Senator McConnell's former chief of staff. Sir, good morning to you, and welcome back here. I imagine...
Happy opening day.
Yeah, thank you. And to you as well. Who's your team?
The Nats. I'm a big Nats
Good
fan
luck.
now. I was a Twins fan originally, but I'm living in D.C., so you got to embrace what's around you.
I got you. It's not ESPN, but I say go Reds. Now, I imagine at this rally tonight in Michigan, the president's going to push this deal a lot.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he's returning to the site of the last rally in 2016 for the first time. He's coming off of a very big week and a bunch of big wins being cleared by the Mueller probe, and then this very important vote in the Senate that you mentioned with Green New Deal. He understands a political winner when he sees one, in particular in his state of Michigan, where it would shut down the American economy and the Michigan economy particularly with this absolutely insane proposal. So I suspect you'll hear a lot about it tonight.
Mike Lee was talking about Aquaman. Did you see that clip
Yeah.
on the floor? He was on last night and addressed it this way. Watch here.
One of the things that we have to take into account is that these things are far more serious than the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal isn't, in fact, a policy proposal. The Green New Deal is its own punchline. In fact, not one single Democrat voted for it in the Senate yesterday. That tells us something.
How dangerous do you think this is for Republicans to ignore or Democrats to push, Josh?
Well, I think it's hugely dangerous for Democrats. I mean, just the evidence is in that vote that Senator Lee just articulated. You know, when you're talking about 43 Democrats that show up and vote present, I mean, this isn't kindergarten, it's the United States Senate. You don't get attendance points. You have to take a stand on these things. Only 4 of them would go against a liberal progressive base and AOC and actually say that they wouldn't support something that would destroy the American economy. All 43 of the rest of them basically just said, okay, I'm here, but, I'm not going to weigh in one way or another. They're in a really dangerous place on this. They're pitted against a progressive base and the rest of America, and I don't know that there's any answers for them anytime soon.
Yeah, Ocasio-Cortez tweeted this, by the way, on the Green New Deal on the vote. She said, because I encouraged them to vote present along with others, McConnell tried to rush the Green New Deal straight to the floor without a hearing. The real question we should be asking, why does the Senate GOP refuse to hold major hearings on climate change? McConnell he's given this the back of the hand ever since it was proposed. And I don't imagine you're going to get many hearings on the Senate side on this, so we'll see where that moves. But I mentioned this rally in Michigan tonight. Grand Rapids, western part of the state, Gerald Ford country. What kind of president do you expect tonight at the podium there, given the past week?
Well, look, I think he's going to be shot out of a cannon. I mean, this is exactly what he does best. It's his best tool in the tool bag in terms of trying to rally his support. And what better week could you possibly have than this, being cleared in the Mueller report, coming off of the Green New Deal, having a lot of really important things to talk about, and then taking it directly to a state where it matters most. I think this is going to be a great rally. Going back to what you were talking about with AOC for a minute, Bill, I can't imagine the Democrats feel particularly intrigued by the idea that she's sort of Geppetto with the marionette telling them what they can and cannot vote on. But you know what? I mean, that's just another fun new wrinkle to 2020, right?
As we say, play ball. Thank you, Josh. Nice to see you.
Thanks, Bill.
Josh Holmes in Washington. Thanks. Come on back.
President Trump slamming Obamacare as he revives the battle to repeal and replace with something else. Democratic lawmakers daring him, please, Mr. President, do it again.
The president wants to go back to repeal and replace again. Make our day. The Republicans here in the Senate tried over and over and over again to deal with repeal and replace. They couldn't because they have no replacement.
Here to respond is RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel. Ronna, good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here.
What's your reaction?
Well, I think the president's watching Democrats say to the American people, Medicare for all, Medicare for all. What it really is a government takeover of your health care. And the president is saying there are things that we do need to do to lower health care costs. We know Obamacare is broken. The Democrat solution is a government takeover. The president is saying, let's reduce the price of prescription drugs. Let's make sure we restore the doctor-patient relationship. These are the things that the American people want that's going to lower the cost of health care, and he's focused on that.
The story floating around that Kevin McCarthy, the leader on the House Republican side, apparently said, Mr. President, let's not do the health care thing, bad idea. At the same time, you got the president going out saying Republican Party will be the party of health care.
Well, the president's a bold leader, and he recognizes that the American people are concerned right now about health care. Deductibles are still high. Insurance prices are still high.
People are worried about pre-existing
They're very
conditions.
worried. And the other thing is the president absolutely will make sure that we have pre-existing condition coverage. But Democrats know it's broken, too. That's why they're saying Medicare for all. That is not
That's how
the
they
solution.
won last time.
That is not the solution. A government takeover with bureaucrats in Washington saying, oh, yeah, you can get this test, or taking it back to the patient-doctor relationship, lowering prescription drug prices, but making sure you have that coverage for pre-existing conditions.
It's going to be a tough spot. The president's pushing the Republican Party and pushing the Democrats at the same time because they let him down in year one. He went with them. He said they had a replacement. They don't. Now he doesn't have the House. It's going to be tough to put out. But now the Texas court ruling could blow up Obamacare, so something's got to get done. Meanwhile, when something's got to get done, Congress, the Speaker Pelosi has got to find a way to get her caucus in order. I know your heart goes out to her because she seems to have a lot of anti-Israeli sentiment, especially among these freshmen, Congresswoman Omar. How does she plan on handling that?
Well, one of the things that's so crazy is Nancy Pelosi is now the moderate in the Democrat Party. The San Francisco liberal is now the most reasonable member of her caucus. But it is very alarming to see that the 2020 Democrats, none of those presidential candidates showed up to AIPAC. AIPAC is bipartisan. It's nonpartisan. It doesn't prefer one party or the other. They won't even show up. The Democrat Party is now anti-Israel, and the president has shown that he is a president that stands with Israel every step of the way. The announcement this week about Golan Heights, moving the embassy, all the things the president has done. Here's the concern. If you allow this anti-Israel, anti-Semitism to seep into your party, if you don't pounce it out the second that it comes in, this is dangerous for our country. And the Democrat Party is now saying this can coexist peacefully in our party.
All right, Vonda McDaniel, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.